The stage lights were almost too bright, and the crowd's noise was shaking the room like thunder. Cameras zoomed in, capturing what would soon become one of the most unforgettable moments in Love and Hip Hop Atlanta history. Yandy Smith, usually calm and polished, broke down in front of everyone, her tears falling the very moment Rasheeda Frost decided to drop a bombshell. With a trembling voice, Rasheeda claimed there was a secret pregnancy scandal connected to Kirk Frost, a claim so heavy that the entire cast froze on the spot. Gasps filled the air, jaws dropped, and in minutes, social media caught fire, hashtags exploding across every platform. What began as a simple argument spiraled into a storm that threatened to shatter not just friendships, but the entire balance of the show. The question in everyone's mind was the same. Was Rasheeda telling the truth, or was this a trap set up to break Yandy in front of millions? For years, fans had watched the tangled web between Rasheeda Frost, her husband Kirk Frost, and Jasmine Washington. Every season carried secrets, betrayals, and heartbreak. But this season, it felt different. The producers knew it, the fans knew it, and the cast could feel it. Rasheeda had been moving around with a guarded smile, her eyes hiding something deep. Online, fans whispered that she was holding on to explosive information, waiting for the perfect time to strike. On the other side, Yandy Smith-Harris tried to stay composed. She often played the peacemaker, the calm in the storm, but viewers understood one truth. When Yandy broke, the entire show shifted. Whispers spread that Rasheeda had private messages, late-night calls, maybe even receipts connecting Kirk to another scandal outside his marriage. And this time, it wasn't just about cheating. A secret pregnancy rumor carried the power to destroy reputations permanently. The weight of it hung in the air like a dark cloud over every scene. Yandy wasn't even directly tied to Kirk's past, but her friendship with Rasheeda had always been a tightrope walk. Sometimes they were allies, other times rivals fueled by jealousy, envy, and whispered betrayal. This season, the cracks were no longer hidden. They were wide enough for the world to see. The tension grew during the Cabo trip, where the cast was supposed to be celebrating. But Rasheeda kept throwing shade with cryptic lines. The truth always comes out. Fake friendships never last. Every time she spoke, the table grew uncomfortable, shifting nervously. Yandy brushed it off at first, but she couldn't ignore the heavy energy. Producers, of course, fed into the tension. The cameras lingered on Yandy's reactions, the side eyes, the awkward silences, and the subtle smirks from the rest of the cast. Fans online picked up on it too. "What is Rasheeda hiding?" trended for 2 days straight. Meanwhile, Kirk Frost acted like nothing was happening. He kept his face blank, stone cold, avoiding eye contact whenever his name came up. But his silence said more than words ever could. It was the silence of a man who knew the walls were closing in. By the time the reunion came, everything boiled over. Yandy and Rasheeda sat on opposite ends of the couch, both visibly tense. Rasheeda leaned forward, her eyes locked onto Yandy like steel. "You out here preaching about loyalty and honesty," she said in a low, sharp tone. "But tell me why every time Kirk's name comes up, you're the first one to look nervous?" The room fell silent. Gasps broke out. Even Spice and Mendices shifted uncomfortably while Erica Mena covered her mouth, whispering, "Oh, it's about to go down." Yandy tried to hold her ground. "Don't do that, Rasheeda. Don't throw shade when you don't even know what you're talking about." But her voice cracked just slightly, and the cameras zoomed in. Rasheeda smirked. "Oh, I know. Don't act like I don't have receipts." When she held up her phone, without even unlocking it, the entire room erupted. Cast members shouted, whispers flew, and Bambi looked directly at the cameras, shaking her head. The message was clear. Rasheeda had something real, and she was ready to drop it when the time was right. The energy shifted instantly. Yandy's cool exterior cracked, her breathing shallow, her hands trembling as she tried to mask the fear. Everyone knew this wasn't just another shady moment for ratings. Rasheeda had the kind of weapon that could ruin reputations forever. The room was already thick with tension, but when Rasheeda Frost leaned back with that sly smile, everyone knew she wasn't finished. The silence stretched on, heavy and suffocating, before she slowly leaned forward again. Her eyes locked on Yandy Smith, her voice low but sharp enough to cut through the chaos. "I'm not saying it tonight, but when I do, everybody's going to see you for who you really are." The words landed like a bomb. Yandy's hands shook slightly as she tried to hold her glass steady. The producers didn't dare cut the cameras. The cast sat frozen, their eyes darting between the two women like they were watching a live grenade about to explode. Spice muttered under her breath, "Lord, it's about to get ugly," while Erica Mena clutched her seat, whispering to no one in particular, "She got real receipts." "I know she do." Even Mendices shifted nervously, rubbing his hands together, his eyes avoiding the cameras as if he didn't want to be caught in the blast radius. And then just like that, Rasheeda put her phone down. No screenshots, no names. No proof yet. But the gesture alone was enough to shake the room to its core. Social media didn't wait for explanations. Within minutes, clips of Rasheeda's smirk spread like wildfire, paired with captions like, "She's holding something big" and "Yandy shaking in her boots." Hashtags like Rasheeda got receipts and DNA secrets trended before the reunion episode even finished airing. Fan pages dissected every look, every twitch, every nervous sip of water from Yandy, convinced that Rasheeda was sitting on evidence powerful enough to end friendships, marriages, and careers in one stroke. Behind the scenes, Yandy was rattled. She told producers she felt ambushed, set up for humiliation in front of millions. "This ain't just shade," she said, her voice breaking. "This is war. She wants to bury me." For a woman whose brand had always been about resilience and strength, the cracks in her armor were showing. And that's exactly what Rasheeda wanted. The rest of the cast sensed blood in the water. Bambi smirked for the cameras, shaking her head like she'd been waiting for this moment all season. Jasmine Washington, lurking from the sidelines, let out a knowing laugh that echoed like gasoline on an open flame. Even Kirk Frost, usually stone-faced when his name was dragged through the mud, looked uneasy this time. His eyes shifted, his jaw clenched, like a man silently admitting that the walls were closing in faster than he could escape. And then came the Cabo trip fallout. Off camera, whispers spread that Rasheeda had been showing private messages to select cast members. Cryptic screenshots, late-night texts, and voice notes that hinted at something deeper than just another cheating scandal. Rumors claimed a mysterious woman had stepped into the picture, her name still hidden, but her existence enough to fuel chaos. Fans went into detective mode, combing through old episodes, analyzing who Kirk had been seen with, who had suddenly gone quiet online, and who might have been hiding a baby bump. Every clue pointed back to one phrase: secret pregnancy scandal. The storm reached its peak when the reunion cameras rolled again. Rasheeda leaned forward once more, her phone in her hand like a loaded weapon. "Don't act like I don't know, Yandy. Don't act like you weren't covering for him. You talk about loyalty, but the truth is, you've been sitting right next to it this whole time." The crowd gasped. The cast members yelled over each other, and producers had to scream just to keep the cameras rolling in order. Yandy's face crumbled. She tried to stand tall, but the weight of Rasheeda's words pushed her into silence. The moment went viral instantly. Blogs posted headlines like "Rasheeda exposes Yandy and Kirk's secret finally out." Twitter erupted in debates, some defending Yandy, others crowning Rasheeda the queen of reality TV for dropping the biggest bombshell of the season. Fans filled the comments with questions. Was the secret pregnancy real? Was Yandy protecting Kirk? Or was this all just another storyline engineered by producers? Nobody had the answers. Not yet. But everyone knew one thing: nothing on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta would ever be the same. The cliffhanger was set. The audience was left screaming at their screens, begging for the next episode, desperate to know if Rasheeda would finally open her phone and reveal the truth. And for Yandy, the damage was already done. Whether the receipts were real or not, her image had cracked on camera. The calm, untouchable queen had finally been dragged into the mud, and this time the world was watching every second of her downfall. Every second of her downfall.